That is very true.
Plus, we haven't actually pinged people saying that the show is starting,
Oh yeah,
so
that
that
is
might.
very. I probably should do that. I can't fucking link to the stage. Who the fuck designs Discord? Who the fuck are these motherfuckers? More than Tom or even. Everyone's catching strays, dude. I'm not even sure I remember the last time Tom had a show. It's been a while.
Aren't you not in his server though? That might be why.
Yeah, but every time he has a show, someone tells me.
Ah, right, yeah.
They're like, "Oh, are you gonna join the show?" And I always say no, but.
Yeah, I haven't joined one in a while. I think the last couple of times I caught his show, he talks about a bunch of random shit, and I'm like, eh.
Yeah, well, the problem is, like every time, like he always his shows templates is he starts the show and he starts talking about something that's happening, but what he does is he just reads the forum post. Like, well, I don't need you for the fucking read me the forum post. I can do, I can do that shit myself.
Alright. Well, while you say that, I'm gonna pull up the forums. I'm gonna go onto the first forum post. I'm just gonna read it.
All right, fair enough. Well, okay, aren't you like top? Like you're like 40 something. You're not top 25. This is a top 25 power rankings. You have to eat more food. You have to beef up. You have to bulk up to be on this list. You put AA in that Antarctic one. Well,
Yeah, well, see, AA is in the top 25, Wookie. So, if
exactly.
anything, you should be ashamed that you are not in the same space as AA.
I don't know. I mean,
Well, maybe they don't. Then that maybe they'll be closer to the bottom of the top 25.
oh, the stream lags for you. Fuck, that's not good. How's it for you, Sketchy? You're like far as fuck away.
What? To be fair, I'm not even watching it. So let me have a look.
Check it out.
Um.
It has no
All
moving
right.
parts. It's just a fucking still image. I don't understand how this shit can lag.
Are you moving your mouse or anything?
No. I'll move it now. There we go.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Is it?
Caster's just cap.
Oh, it's capping.
Yeah, full shit. If I can see it, he can see it.
What is this?
This is just Caster's attempt to sabotage us. It's
True.
mad.
He's just envious. He's just mad that we're doing the show that he's supposed to. It's okay, Caster. If you're very nice to us, we might let you on sometimes. I remember
All
when we
right.
were.
Well, it looks like
It looks like everyone's in, probably.
yeah.
So we might as well begin. It's our first show,
Yeah.
so actually, there was this plan. We were maybe thinking of calling the show Drama Alert. I think if we did that, at least we would have like a set intro already. We could just come in. What's up, Drama Alert Nation? It's your boy, Abaddon, and your boy Sketchy. But we don't have that. We gotta figure out how we're gonna start
We'll
that.
just talk to Kev and get him to record a jingle. That way we don't have to do it.
That's actually true. I think he would fucking love that too.
Oh yeah.
Kester, what screenshot? We haven't graded anyone yet. What the fuck are you? You always want an empty list.
We haven't done it. We're doing it live, Caster. Relax, bro.
That's the whole point. We're talking about our reasonings. It's not like random people are gonna vote for us and we're gonna post what they did with no explanation.
Yeah, we don't care about your opinions.
Exactly. Yes. All right. So I guess we should start discussing our the categories for which we're grading these. So the first one is the first two are FA. I think we should color these if people come in. I don't know, maybe like.
I think they are coloured
Are they?
from before.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
mean the
Oh, you
categories,
mean at
I
the
guess.
top?
Yeah, I'll just make a what the fuck is this color, bro? And like this or something. So they're also weighed at the end. So FA has the most importance after it hard power, and then the least importance is econ. So that's how we're gonna do it. And we're just gonna go column by column, and as they develop, you'll be able to tell what the final rank of the alliance is. Some alliance that's very high in FA might not be very high at the end because they're just shit at fighting.
Yeah, like Antarctica Alliance. They're giants in FA, but their fighting is terrible. This is what I've learned from hockey.
Is my mic lagging? Maybe I should reconnect, actually. That might help. Give me
It's
a
not
sec.
that bad. Every now and then there's a little like in the fucking you just a little bit of stutter, but I don't know. But that's just for me. Maybe it's worse for everyone else.
I
Or
swear to God,
Caster's just sabotaging us again.
do you know what it is? I think it's because the server is hosted in the US, probably. And that's why. I swear to God, probably Kev made the server and he's like, fuck it, I'll host it in the US, no other country or fucking con that matters at all. No, you can't set the
Yeah.
stage to regions, though, is the issue. Yeah, it's cooked. I'm telling you, whoever designed Discord wasn't very smart. Alright, I'll reconnect. Give me a sec. Let me see if that fixes my
Cypher
mic.
said that it's fine, so I think you're good.
Yeah, Cypher's opinion is ultimately the one that matters.
Yeah, I was definitely part of the crack team that made Discord. I delivered the crack to them while they were making it.
Alright. It's time to begin, boys.
Yep, sounds good.
So for how are we gonna do this? Are we just gonna go 1 to 25?
Yeah, sounds good. We'll do it category by category. And we'll
Yeah, keep it
start
going.
everyone by putting, where's TGH? We'll put TGH at 25 for everything, just as a baseline, you know?
Yes, and then
So
we
we
go up
know,
from there.
yeah, we go from there. Sounds pretty good to me.
We're not doing 25 to 1. That's infinitely more difficult. I have no fucking clue who 25th is. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Who the fuck is the last one? I have no idea. I do know who is first in. Well, actually, who is first in positioning? That's a good question. Well, I think I would say Eclipse.
Eclipse, yeah.
And
I
that's.
mean, if you look at the spheres right now, I'm gonna
I
pull
can
that up.
actually look at the spheres.
That's true, you can.
So if you just look at where they're sitting, it's very difficult to really get away with attacking Eclipse at the moment. They're very solid. They're allied to a lot of very strong alliances. I think,
Both directly and indirectly, yeah.
and indirectly, yeah. For second place, who could we put? I'll
Um,
be brash and put us as number 2, honestly. But I don't think other people might agree with that.
yeah, I mean, part of positioning is your positioning within the sphere, I suppose.
Yeah.
What's the biggest sphere after Eclipse? Right now, it's Rose Sphere, I suppose.
Yeah. You could put Rose as number 2.
What blocks do we have? I mean, we have Eclipse, us, so clock, I guess you could say. Rose Sphere, which also has Penta attached to it. And then you have TKR, Grumpy, TSC, and TS and Legion. And EVH has their thing with KT, which sort of hangs off.
Well, yeah, and the house
Yeah.
technically has WAP too, but I don't know if you can really count that.
I would say they're straddling. I don't know if I'd count WAP in
And then you have TS in the corner.
house. Yeah. Yes, Spectre is in clock. Yes.
Yes, yes. All right, I think I do agree. We probably should put Rose in number 2 just because they're leading their big block.
Yeah. And then I think from there you could put us at 3, and this is where it gets interesting.
I think I would put TKRs. Where even is TKR even on? Yeah, there. I would put them at 4 for sure because or EVH. Yeah, you're
TKR or
actually right.
EVH. I think EVH would be 4,
Yeah, you're
to
probably
be
right.
honest,
I think TKR is
because
probably
they have
definitely in.
KT. Yes, yeah.
They're more
TKR is
danger.
definitely. Well, yeah, EVH has more treaties outside of their sphere to either like they're tied to KT, who's tied to Eclipse. They're tied to Spectre, who's part of Clock
And they've
from
just
the
gotten out of a
merger.
war as well, so
Yeah, which make them safer. Yep. Yeah, I think it'd be EVH and then TKR.
and then this becomes interesting because um, now really it's a lot of people could be sixth in my opinion. I think TFP is
I agree.
one of the candidates for sixth.
I would say Guardian, before TFP probably.
Well, you have Guardian, you have Guardian is a candidate, KT is a candidate, and TFP are a candidate.
Yeah, also, I mean, there's other Clock alliances. Spectre is also a candidate for 6, I think. In fact, I'd actually say Spectre is between EVH and Clock and has a bunch of other extra treaties. So I kind of think maybe Spectre is 6th at the moment in positioning.
You could be right. I think the last time we spoke about this, Spectre didn't even exist, so I completely forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might be correct. I think it might actually be Spectre, yeah. I think we do Spectre for sixth for sure. And then afterwards,
And also
um,
Grumpy could be 7th. I mean, now you've got Grumpy, Guardian. I mean, I would put Guardian above Grumpy right now. They're the de facto number 2 in Rose Sphere, so.
yeah, I think they're. I mean, just Rose Guard's positioning is way better than House's positioning. So if we're gonna, I think Guardian is definitely above Grumpy.
I couldn't put KT in number 1 due to you not being number 1. That was the main reason.
Yes, very much. Yeah,
Alright.
I think it's probably Guardian, Grumpy, and then TFP in my opinion. Actually, no, that isn't true. I think I would put KT above Grumpy, honestly.
KT is KT. Actually, let
They
me have
are
a look.
they are tied to EVH and Eclipse.
Eclipse and yeah,
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, I think it would be KT and then Grumpy.
yeah.
Yep.
So let's do 9, and I would say after them you could start going TFP
This is where we disagree. At this point,
or Weeb.
I would probably put Weebinism or TGH over TFP. TFP's position isn't as strong. I don't think they're their only actual MD treaties right now are BK and UPN, and the
Well,
rest are ODPs.
I think positioning is also about your likelihood of being a target, and I think no one's gonna target TFP right now. I don't think.
That's fair, but I think to be fair, that we're going on the information we have. We don't know that for certain. If someone wanted to target TFP, it would be a lot easier than say targeting Weebinism or who was the other one I said? Or even Immortals. So
Positioning
I
of
don't know. I
Pempico
wouldn't.
is basically how you're positioned on the treaty web to not only defend yourself but to also make plays against your rivals or alliances you want to hit. So, for example, TS is in a bad position. Eclipse is at a very good position. But yeah, let's. I think you are. I think Weeb is just a strong candidate in general.
Yeah, I think Weeb for 10 personally.
Probably.
And I think here Syndicate is probably where this is where Syndicate would slot in. They are, I mean, there's only two alliances, but they are the leader of those two alliances. And Syndicate's
Yeah.
pretty big on their own. So I think it makes sense to put them here.
People are saying WAP should be ahead of Weeb, but I disagree because Weeb is
Well, WAP is not part of the block, and Weeb is.
Weeb is. Weeb
So,
is tied to Sin, Eclipse, and Spectre. I mean, they're pretty much invincible right now. WAP isn't. WAP only has his treaty to Eclipse, and they're very much out there. They don't have a
well, it's
sphere.
not about whether they can fight. We're not. That's a different category for later. We're talking specifically about their position in the game.
Yes, that's
Uh,
gonna be hard power later.
yeah, Weebinism has a stronger position right now than WAP. I think WAP is kind of straddling spheres, which can be good, but it also has downsides.
And I think you're now gonna argue for TGH, but I'm gonna disagree because TGH's positioning shouldn't be bad. It should be good, but I think they self-cuck their positioning. Like I think they damage it a lot, and it's worse than TFP's is because TFP is just a more passive player.
Well, I would counter with that by saying that TGH has a bunch of these smaller allies that collectively can pack a bit of a punch for them. I mean, we've seen the high table has performed well in wars, and they're only tied to TGH. So TGH has their own little like mini sphere thing hanging off Rose Sphere, which I would argue is enough to put them in 12th.
However, TFP is directly signed to Penta, so they have that
True,
cover as well.
but I
Like,
think that's an indirect tie to Rose Sphere more than a direct tie to Rose Sphere. It's a tie to Penta, which I mean Penta is lower on our positioning list right now than TFP will be.
hmm.
But mm,
Do you want to flip a coin?
this is me.
I think there's a command for that. Is it rand between 1 and 2? Oh, which one's one? You guys.
You probably should have established that before you did it.
Yeah, let's say all right. Let's say TFP is 1, TGH is 2. Let's say rand between
TGH
1.
better get robbed.
Fuck.
Oh, never mind.
TGH 1. There you go. TGH
Yeah, the
is
sheet agrees
12th.
with me.
All right.
And then TFP at 13 seems reasonable.
Yeah, but that will require googling, and this is faster. All right, next one. I think it's
Um,
WAP or TSC maybe, or
or Immortals, perhaps, but Immortals has had a rough ride lately. So I don't know. I mean, being signed to Eclipse is a big boon for them, but then I guess no, yeah, TSC has Tikia. They're in a block, even if they're, I guess, third in the block. Then they have external treaties with WAP. Yeah, TSC makes sense.
yeah, TSC is pretty okay. I'll do
I
it
think
for 14,
TSC would be,
and
yeah,
then as you
14th.
said, 15 for TI, and I would say afterwards we could. It's probably WAP.
Yeah, WAP. Actually, I think WAP is above Immortals right now because they
Yeah,
also have a tie to Eclipse, but they also have other ties.
yeah.
So I think they'd be 15th, and then it'd be Immortals.
And what do we say? Oh, we didn't say anything. So now it becomes difficult. Camelot has a really bad. They have one ally, and that's Spectre, as far as I know.
Yeah, I don't think Camelot's 17th right now. I mean, they're not in a great position. I mean,
Antarctica,
they're signed to Gato as well.
Antarctica might be last, to be fair. Who do they even have? They only have TGH
They
right
have
now.
TGH. Yeah.
They're a candidate for
Are
last.
they signed to High Table? Is that like a thing?
They are. They have an MDP.
Alright,
Actually,
so
they
they have
only
that
have an
little
OD
hang up.
with TGH. They're actually only MD treaty is high table.
Ah, right, okay, yeah, then they're probably not. Well, where's the Lost Mines lately?
They have TKR. So we gotta
Still have
think
TK?
who here has
Alright.
Rose in Penta. Name Withheld has
Well, I
Rose.
think Arkham Asylum, Name Withheld
I would say Name Withheld is above Arkham.
is next. Yeah, I think 17, because they have Penta and they also are full with Rose
Yeah,
Sphere. So, yeah, I think easily they're 17.
and then we could say Arkham for sure.
Yeah, at 18th. And then probably Legion at that point.
Yeah, probably. Well, actually, you think UPN is above Arkham?
Oh, I put the wrong person.
Yeah. It's Arkham, and then here it becomes even more difficult. Who is next? Well, let's think here. High table
L-
is a
Legion, I think, maybe, just for
maybe.
being. It's hard to say because that sphere is now so small that it's just two alliances. But the way I see it, those are two bigger alliances than some of the, I don't know. Yeah, it is very tricky now because I mean you have UPN, who's de facto part of Penta, which is now sort of tied to Rose Sphere,
I think here
which you could say that's a better position.
I think here it becomes a thing where how much can this alliance move on the treaty web if they need to? Because all of these alliances have like unstable existences right now. Like they mostly have one ally or something. Gato is like tied to Spectre
Well,
only, I think.
I think you were right about the Antarctica Alliance being last. I didn't realize their treaty with TGH was an OD, so yeah, I think that definitely puts them at last place.
Yeah, I think after them, um, it might be TLM probably. I'm not gonna lie. TLM or
Like
Camelot.
24th. I think
Yeah.
TLM is safer than Camelot right now.
Well, Camelot does have Camelot has Gato and Spectre, and TLM has WTF and TKR. So really, that's where you're judging. I don't know. I think you might be
Yeah,
right.
I mean, I think TKR is probably a bigger threat in that scenario.
Yeah.
It'd be a lot harder to hit TLM. So
Oh, let's do 24 for Cam, and let's do 23 for TLM.
yeah.
Although we say that, and then Gato is in the same position as Camelot, just they have House Dark.
Well, in that case, I'm gonna have to go with Camelot is being rolled. Um,
That is true.
yeah, I mean that's fairly even, but Camelot's also bigger, so you could say no. I think you might be right. I think it might
But
be
but Camelot is retarded, so they're way
them.
more likely to get hit.
So very nice.
Hey, he deserves it. um.
I think he prefers eccentric.
Oh yeah, sure, that's true.
Wink.
Wink, wink. That's our political. That's our political. Yeah, that's our leadership opinion. Our radio host opinion is Epi's retarded. All right, no, I think this is fine. I think Camelot is just a bigger, stronger alliance, even though I think this is still correct.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, I would probably say High Table because they are very safe, but they only have TGH.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have a very high opinion of the High Table. I think out of these, I think they also just beat these alliances in how they conduct themselves and move. I don't think anyone's gonna target them anytime soon.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think high table seems like a rational add to Florida in the future if they're. Uh,
Yeah, and people underestimate their tiering. It's gotten a lot better recently. Let me open that up.
well, yeah, I saw it the other day. It's very organized.
Very good. It looks like they're doing growth circles, so they're doing well. I mean, they are another Camelot pretty much, and they're top 20 right now. So, all right. So what's the next one? I think Legion might be 19th. I think we just go for Legion. You're correct.
Yeah, I think if UPM was directly tied into Rosphere, I'd put them here, but they're not. So I kind of think it's Legion and then UPN
And then TLM. Yeah.
and then TLM. All right.
All right. That's one column done. All right. Now we have to describe or how we're gonna judge influence. It is the amount of political power you can exert to get what you want.
Yes.
A
Your
leader
power
of
projection.
a leader of a block has a lot of influence. Someone that has no friends has no influence.
But also how much they actually exert that influence. Some alliances are very quiet relative to other alliances and don't do as much.
Yes, and I think we're in a unique position to talk about it because we talk to the alliances, so we kind of know.
Yeah.
So who would you
Well,
say has the most influence?
well, up until recently, I would have said Rose, but with the new
Agree.
shift in leadership, I don't think that's the case anymore.
Yeah, I would agree.
So I would say it's probably Eclipse now.
Yeah, up until recently, I think Rose was with Harry. Rose was above Eclipse for sure. So
Yeah.
currently, it is Eclipse, and number two is I'm actually questioning whether it is Rose at number two, but it probably is.
Yeah, I would say it's still Rose at number 2 at the moment until it's too early to judge, I suppose.
That is true. Yeah,
They
the
have a
new
lot
leadership.
of alliances now, so
That
this
is
is where
true.
it gets more interesting.
Yeah, three is gonna be a different. I'm not actually. I would probably. I kind of think it might be TKR.
It's good. It's between us, TKR, and TS. I think,
Yeah.
even despite their current position.
Well, I think we've proven in the recent history that we do have a lot of influence, and the other two haven't. So I think it's I think we might reserve
That's a
three.
stark way to say it. I'm leaning towards TKR personally at third.
Yeah,
I think
I am as well.
there is the level of that legacy alliance buff that you get that is hard to shake sometimes.
That is true. Yeah, I do think overall, um, with the way they're playing right now, I think they are number three. And
Yeah.
then afterwards, I
Then
think
I'd
it's
say
us
it's
four
us
and TS
probably.
five.
Yes.
And
And this is
then
where it gets interesting
yes, it
because I
does.
would say EVH obviously, Grumpy. Honestly, it's probably just between those two,
EVH and
EVH
Grumpy,
and Grumpy.
probably. Yeah, I would say Spectre is Spectre is high on the list as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't say they're there yet, but they have a lot of treaties and things going on, so that's true. They're probably in the next grouping below, I think.
Yeah, I also
Co-
think
uh, mm,
here's another one. TGH isn't very high on the positioning list, but compared to some other alliances, they are high for influence, in my opinion.
that's true. I lean towards this being EVH over Grumpy. I think EVH is more independent and is
Probably.
more well. Right now, they're effectively a sphere leader. Um, even if that's a smaller sphere.
Well, people do consider them as a grouping, them and KT, instead of a part of something.
Yes. Yeah. Although I think people view EVH more as the political actor in that grouping, so perhaps that's
That is true, yeah.
yeah. Sixth, and I think seventh is um
People give a lot of shit to Grumpy. Whenever I have conversations with people, I get like, yeah, I mean, Grumpy should have a lot of influence, but I never do anything with it and whatever. I don't think that's true. I think there's
I think the issue is more that they don't do the right things a lot of the time, rather than that they don't do anything.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a very good way to put it. That is a very good way to put it. I mean, just their size and tiering gives them a lot of influence in whatever sphere they're in. I mean, House isn't gonna make any move without Grumpy agreeing to it, and House is the one of the major spheres right now. So
That's
I think
fair.
they probably deserve 7.
Yeah, they do sometimes have an issue of exerting that influence compared to other alliances, but given their position and their size and their tiering especially, I would say seventh is right. Yeah, it's where things get interesting though.
Yeah, I don't really know who is 8. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I
I
think you've got TGH,
Spectre.
Spectre,
Who else, bro?
KT, maybe.
I think
Although
I think
I don't.
Spectre and TJ are above
Yeah,
KT.
I also think that. Yeah, based on KT's play style of staying out of politics.
Yeah. Um, flip a coin.
I'm gonna go with TGH on this one. If for nothing else, that it feels like they've made more waves. Uh, they've made more things happen.
And
Whether
also,
that's been in their interests is up for debate, but things have happened as a result of TGH more, I think.
that is true.
And Spectre's still a relatively new alliance. I mean, they've
Yeah,
only
that's what I
just
was gonna say.
formed. Yeah, so it still remains to be seen how
Yeah,
that plays out. But
I think
obviously,
Spectre
Toxic has a
is.
lot of.
Oh, sorry. I
Oh,
think Spectre
all
is
good.
ninth though. Spectre for
Yeah,
9, and then here it becomes very. I don't really
I think
know.
Guardian is the logical choice here. I don't really actually think there's anyone else that fits this slot right now except for Guardian. Guardian isn't as loud
That
as
is
a lot
true.
of
Yeah.
other alliances, but internally they obviously
Right.
hold weight within the sphere. So I think
It's a similar situation to Grumpy, where Rose is always gonna ask Guardian before they make any moves.
exactly, yeah. I think they're 10th pretty easily.
And now it becomes
Um,
difficult.
yes, now it does become difficult. I'm
Weeb.
leaning to a TFP straight out of the gate here.
I am as
Um,
well. Well, I was gonna say Weeb is very high on positioning, but I think very low on influence. They just go with whatever
yes.
Eclipse says most of the time.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
the problem with KT again is they're not as involved in the political. They don't get into blocks as much, so
yeah,
it's harder to put them where they should be. Really, I think
I think it
TFP
is
has made
TFP.
a
Yeah,
lot of moves and done a lot of things over the past year and a half. Uh,
that is true. They've been in
has a
everything
lot of
before.
friends. Yeah, so I think it's very easy to put them here. To be honest, I almost think we might have underrated them a little bit now that I'm looking at it.
Well, the only reason I would say we didn't is because Spectre has, for example, tangible ties that they can exert, while TFP doesn't. They do have
Yeah.
contacts, but they don't have
I think
MB3s.
I almost lean towards putting TFP above Guardian,
Guardian,
actually, now
yeah,
that I'm yeah.
I would
I
agree.
think
Yeah,
I think 10 I do think TFP is actually 10 and I think Guardian is 11.
yeah.
And then well now you have Sword Coast, I
I
think.
was gonna say Sword Coast as well. I was gonna say it's definitely Sword Coast, and then it
I think it's Sword
becomes
Coast easily.
And then it's
12.
KT, in my opinion, afterwards.
Yeah, I agree.
Here it becomes it gets harder the further down we go. I'm not really curious on who is here. I think it might be WAP before Weeb for sure. Alright,
Yeah, although I don't know if it's either of them. I think name withheld
yeah, that's true. They do
or
have a roast eye. That is very true.
yeah, name withheld is one. Um, yeah, this is where it gets a little
Yeah,
complicated.
who else? Arkham. I don't know. Maybe not very high.
Maybe Immortals, but Immortals isn't the most. Well, Immortals has taken a huge hit lately in every
Aspect.
way, and
Yeah,
they're not part of. I mean, they're not part of a core block. They're just signed to Eclipse. It doesn't even seem like they're really in politics right now. Like they're not doing anything.
that's what I was gonna
Seems
say.
like they're
Yeah,
just recuperating. So yeah, I mean, I think WAP, well, name withheld, and then WAP
I
probably
think you're right. Yeah, I
at the
think it's
moment.
415 for name withheld and WAP for 15th.
WAP is 15 on both.
Yeah, I think they'll be a lot higher in hard power.
Let's see. Let's order this. WAP is 16th in the game. Oh, there you go. You're overperforming.
By one position. All right. Let's
Well, they're
switch
going
to
to get
Arkham.
some boost from hard power and econ.
I'm thinking now it's between Weeb and Arkham. I think
Yeah.
probably Weeb.
Well, from my experience with both alliances, I would lean towards Arkham. Because
You think
Arkham
so?
is louder. Yes,
That is that is
they're
very
more
true.
opinionated.
That is very true.
Let's put it that way.
That is very true. Yeah,
Weeb is very casual, laid back. I don't know that
passive.
they have their own FA goals exactly. They seem content to just ride along.
That is very
So
true.
whilst Arkham definitely has their own considerations in mind, so yeah, I think that Arkham is 16th.
Would you give Camelot influence rank? What the fuck are you saying, Kai? Does the sentence make any? Are you drunk? Would you give Camelot influence rank soon? Because of what the fuck
I
are you
think
saying?
soon he means like as in at some point like 17th or 18th. I assume is what
Oh,
he's trying.
because of his videos? No. It makes absolutely his videos do nothing to give him political
They
influence. I
don't.
think
Yeah, they don't shape the FA of the game. They're probably good for recruitment and like gaining people, but I
yes,
don't think they have an impact on the FA outlook of the game really.
for sure. Yeah, nobody in leadership
Well,
of alliances
to
cares.
be fair, Epi is the head, like the face of Camelot. So if it would apply if it actually helped with his FA. Alliances are people. I don't think it gives a propaganda boost really.
No, I think afterwards it's Weeb because all these other alliances don't have very much influence at all. Weeb, if we wanted to, they could exert more
Yeah, I
influence.
mean Camelot. Sorry, Immortals would be here historically, but right now I don't know that they're here.
No,
Right now in their current position, how much they've lost, and yeah, and I think Weebinism. There is an actual argument for Camelot simply based on, but that's more just their own. At a certain point, you get to a point where an alliance is big enough and active enough that their own influence just over themselves is something to consider. Like I'd probably put Camelot over some of these other alliances down here,
that is true. Yeah, I mean, and their willingness to
but
participate as well.
Weebinism is 17th for sure.
I think I would,
Um,
I think I would put Ti as 18th. There's no way. I think Ti does still have more influence than the other
yeah,
alliances.
yes, probably if they wanted to wield it, they would. Yeah.
And I would say now it's Camelot at 19th. Camelot definitely has more influence than all these other alliances.
Yeah, yeah. I think high table or Legion probably then
Legion, I
high
would say,
table.
yeah. Although Legion is sort of like Weeb. pretty much. But yeah, I agree.
And then I think it's high table from here.
High table and Antarctica last as well. I don't think Antarctica has any influence. I think after them it is TLM. I think UPN and
I
Gator
don't think
probably have
so.
more
I
influence.
I think it's UPN. Oh, you
Uh,
mean like at 24? Yeah,
Last, yeah. I think it's TLM and then Gato and then UPN.
yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah. All right, let's see. See, there's a big difference actually, which is pretty interesting. How TS has low positioning currently, but their overall influence still high. I think that's
Yeah, they're
pretty accurate.
ultimately they are a major, so your positioning fluctuates, but your influence doesn't change usually as much.
Less so, yeah. I think
I think that's
TI's
pretty good.
influence recently was pretty high, but it's tanked like severely.
Yes, yes. When they were in house, I would have put them in like probably the top 10. They were exerting a lot of influence as well. They were actually using it, but then, well, we saw what happened. It's not the case anymore at the
Yeah,
moment.
yeah. So moving on to hard power, this one is a lot easier to. It's a lot less subjective, I would say. Oh, actually, that might not be the case. I think you and I are gonna disagree a lot on hard power. Actually,
Mm, perhaps, yeah. Well,
who
we
do you
can
think
start with.
is number one? I actually want to hear your
Uh,
opinion first.
right- I think I know what you're gonna say, but I mean, I think it's Eclipse.
Yeah, I think I know you're gonna say it's Eclipse. I have
Yeah,
this
and
very
I know you're gonna say Rose.
yes. I have this very controversial opinion that not many other people have, that Rose is a lot stronger than Eclipse. And I think people just don't really realize it yet. Um, but I think based on the game's average opinion, most people think it's Eclipse purely because Eclipse is in high regard on their command competency. I would say Eclipse is very good. I think they're pound for pound better than Rose, but Rose just has numbers that would beat Eclipse. If Rose and Eclipse fought in a 1v1, I think Eclipse would. I think Rose would win in most scenarios, simply because of their tiering. So
Yeah,
if
to be clear to Fine and Dandy, it's not about what numbers they can rally. It's not even about treaties in this case. It's specifically about how strong they are.
their own alliance, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're very close. I agree with you on that. I would give Eclipse the edge based on tiering and based on, I guess, quality, especially in the upper tier. It's
Well,
it's
yeah.
it's it's very close. It's closer than people think. I agree with you on that. I just don't know if I would give it to Rose.
Well, I'm happy to concede because I think most people would disagree with me. So I would say yes. I think it's probably you could put Eclipse as number one and Rose number two. Although
All right. Well, this is
personally,
where it gets
I
interesting.
definitely believe Rose is stronger than Eclipse.
Yes. Yeah.
I think
I think they're
three is
close enough that it's a toss
Syndicate.
up.
I would
Yes,
put
I
Syndicate as
I
number
think
three.
Syndicate's tiering is obviously much higher. I mean, there are. It's interesting because everyone conceptualizes the alliances like Rose and Eclipse are like way ahead, but and like on total city count, that's true. But if you look at the tiering, Syndicate's very close. They're catching up. I'd even say that in terms of like upper tier, they're pretty competitive. Their issue is more total numbers, but they're pretty big. This number
Well,
includes enterprise. So their actual total cities is like 4,200, I think, in the main AA.
yeah.
Um,
Well, I will say people severely overlook TS as hard power. People usually think of like powerhouses as Rose Eclipse or EVH, Sin, TK. No, I don't think Syndicate tiering wise is ahead of Rose and is very close to catching up to Eclipse. I mean, they're pretty much knocking on C50 at the moment. I think they're a lot stronger than people think. I mean, they're in a position, but soon they're gonna be contesting Eclipse. So yeah, they're definitely
Yes,
number
I
three for
agree. I
sure.
agree. I mean, if I was Eclipse and Rose, I'd be side eyeing them.
100%,
Instead,
yeah.
I'm side eyeing.
Yeah, well, we're always fighting up against TS.
Yeah, we have to fight TS. So no, this is what we need to do. TS, let's all just calm down, not fight each other anymore, and then these guys will have to fight you, and then you'll regret it, and you'll wish you were fighting us again. You'll be like, "Fuck,
Yeah.
why did we stop fighting Sing? What were we doing?"
They were so much easier than Rose and Eclipse.
Yeah, they're like 2 years behind, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think TS is firm number three. Like, not even close.
I agree.
And
Yeah, well,
here,
this is where things get interesting because I I think this is between us and EVH.
and I would give it to EVH currently.
I think yep. I think they have a slight advantage right now on tiering mostly. It's pretty much
Yeah,
just entirely tiering.
that is true. Yeah, I think I mean, they wouldn't like me saying this. I think objectively, our fighters are a little better on average, but they have
In
more
the
of
upper
them.
tier, yeah, I mean we're more selective
Yeah,
of our top tier people. But yeah, I agree. I mean I think they're the
they do
number
have a
four
lot of
hub
good
out.
people. Don't get me wrong. It's just, I mean, they might get mad at me again for saying it, but I think some of the Aurora people are kind of worse. A lot of the CTO people, as far as I've seen, are very good.
And then I think it's us.
Then I think it's us, and then I think it's TKR.
Yeah,
Um,
I think we agree on that.
and
TKR has fallen behind on tiering considerably over time.
definitely, yeah.
And I mean their overall skill level, I would say, isn't as good as us either. To be honest, I think
No,
they have some better. It's interesting because we're more spread, like we're more focused, and we have like really good people at the top, and they have, I would say, better mix of people across the tiering. But
well, I
yeah, I
will
mean
say,
now,
I forgot to mention this when we are discussing Rose Eclipse. Another very big factor that I'm taking in is attendance. Like Rose is way
yes,
better
yeah,
attendance than Eclipse. That's what I usually think. Syndicate is very good attendance. EVH also has very good attendance, and we have like very good attendance. TKR doesn't have very good attendance. They're one of the majors that actually has a kind of shitty attendance, at least in recent history. So if I think that's also if even if they had even tiering to us, I think they would still be behind us because in a 1v1 we would beat them because we would bring more people on.
yeah,
So
yeah, that's fair.
I think that's really what it
All
is.
right. So now we have Grumpy. I think.
I would say Grumpy,
Actually,
yeah.
I should order these by cities, make it easier. Yes, I think Grumpy is number
7.
7.
And then this is gonna be a controversial opinion, but I would say TFP as 8. People don't realize, but TFP is the same tiering as TKR. They just have 50 less members. They're exact same tiering as
Yeah,
TKR.
I'm. It's between them and Guardian and KT really here. I
They are.
think.
I think they are. You would
I
rather have TFP than either Guardian or KT fighting with you.
yeah. I mean, I think it depends on. I think that would depend almost entirely on what type of war it is, who the opponent is. But I agree. I mean, I think yeah, they're more versatile. They're more spread out. They have more coverage. They are a major. It's a bit bigger numbers. So
I
I
guess
tend to agree. Yeah.
I should pull them up just so people can see. Because people sleep on them a lot. Because their tiering has developed quite a bit. If you compare, like I said before, to TKR, their numbers are very comparable. It's just TKR has a lot more recruits. If you look at TFP, they have a bunch of 40s at this point, and they have a big 37, 38 tier, which is exactly the same as TKR, pretty much. TKR just has more players. So I think
Yeah, I think that's fair. Guardian, where's Guardian at the moment?
I think it's TFP and then Guardian and then KT.
Yeah, I mean I agree with KT. I'm not 100% on TP versus Guardian.
Would
Because
you like to flip a coin?
Guardian is pretty. Yeah, I think we might have to. I don't know. I think
Let's.
Guardian is kind of like a mini Grumpy in a way, and that's not something I would sleep on.
Well, Guardian is better than TFP. So if we're gonna go
That
off
too. Yeah.
that, and they have higher. Well, they have TFP has higher attendance when I'm helping them with it. But it's
I wouldn't say we're ignoring Spectre over KT. I think Spectre doesn't have. I mean, I'll look at the tiering just in case I'm wrong.
we're
Spectre has a
not.
couple. Yeah, I mean, there are a couple of problems with Spectre. One,
Yes,
a good chunk of that is made up of LOD, and LOD is
dog shit.
not great. Yeah, that's one way to put it. Yeah. I think they'll improve now that they're under different management. I mean, Toxic's very good at managing
That
people,
is
so I
true. Yeah.
could. And Super Dead
And
is
Super there. Yeah.
low key, in my opinion, one of the best Milcom heads in the game. And very
I agree.
slept
Yeah.
on.
Currently, yeah.
But counter argument to that, Caster, is they have no 40s yet at the moment.
No,
Well,
I
I
think
mean, you
it's
have.
no contest. KT is way stronger
Yeah,
than Spectre. I mean,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just figured I'd respond to him. Yeah, I'm gonna say it's Guardian here. So
I
I don't
think
know what you want to.
I'll concede Guardian because of quality and Wales. So I
Yeah,
think you are correct.
and then I think it's TFP, and then
And
I
then
think it's
KT. Yeah.
KT.
A lot of people
KT is.
a lot of people are gonna
Yeah,
disagree very hard with this, but I think
yeah.
this is
Well,
correct.
people think people think of that in terms of how lean an alliance is. Like KT is very lean, but they're also small. They only have 50 members compared to
Yes.
like an alliance with 150. That's 3 times the amount of members. If that alliance is not like 75% lean, that's still better. Um, that's still better than 50 members.
Yes,
So yeah, I
and
don't.
they might argue they should be above TFP, but TFP is an alliance that can help you in a lot of tiers, and just in the 40s, they're equivalent to KT.
Yeah, like if there are plenty of situations where KT would be less useful because they have most of their people in the upper tier, and maybe you've already got that covered.
Yeah, I think this is
TFP can
fair.
cover multiple tiers, so yeah, I think that's reasonable. This is where things get interesting because
Yeah, WAP.
Vector is untested. Is what I'm actually going to say here.
Yes.
They're untested. We won't really know how well they are until they fight. I think we need to see how they actually handle. If I'm just going off the alliances that were made up, which would be DB and LOD. I mean, LOD wasn't very good, but DB was pretty solid. But I would say WAP was probably better than DB
Well, also WAP steering is
at the time of merging.
very good. WAP steering is equivalent to Spectres. Let me actually open this two alliances up. Currently, WAP is very strong. I think it's another alliance where people they've grown very quickly and people haven't noticed it yet. They have a bunch of 35s, 36s, and 40s now,
Yeah, they have some 40s as well. Yeah. So yeah,
which is equivalent to Spectre.
I think that until we see Spectre fight, it's kind of hard to put them here. I think it has to go to WAP
Yeah, I
because I
think it
think
goes to WAP.
LOD isn't enough. Perhaps it's very difficult because the LOD they're big, but they're also not that much bigger. I'm gonna have to say it's WAP. I think it's WAP
It
here
is WAP, yeah.
at 11, and then I think it's Spectre.
I think it's Spectre, and then I think it's again controversial. I think it's Weeb afterwards. It's also
I
an
think it's
alliance.
TGH after personally.
Well, let's look at it. It's TGH, and then let's bring out who the fuck did I say Weeb? Sorry, Alzheimer's just hit me. So yeah, TGH is very good. I will like. Don't get me wrong, they are very good, but their tiering is just very far behind in my opinion. Like TGH isn't at a point where they have meaningful tiering, whereas Weebianism does. They have 37s. I mean, I think they're higher tier than TGH. So
Yeah,
if you
I'm
could if you could pick
kind of.
between them,
Let me open up TGH because I haven't actually looked at their tiering in a while. Yeah, that is fair. I mean, TGH has a lot of like they've only got 49 members, and a reasonable chunk of that is 30 sub 30. So you could definitely say, but they also have a 47, a 44, 42, 41, a 40, which is not something I would sleep on. Well, what is weird is, I mean, they have 41, 40, and that's it.
Yeah.
They have it's very close. I don't know. I might give you this one.
Yeah, I think if I could pick, like, let's say we're doing one of those where we're putting like a fantasy sphere together, I think 9 out of 10 people would pick Weeb over TGH simply because of the numbers. Even though I will say quality wise, TGH is vastly
All
better.
right, Castor is yelling at us to include their offshores in tiering. So
Is that
I
fair?
don't know I don't know if that's going to make the difference, but let's have a look at their
It
offshores.
might.
Just
I remember last time I did the review. They had like 3 offshores and they each had like a C40. Let me check. So Rain Dvorak is a C30. Oh, that was a little good for you, Caster. I don't know. Sniper is a
not a good start.
C32 and George is a C35. Yeah, you cooked. Yeah, that doesn't help you at all.
Yeah, I don't know if that's enough, Castor.
That ain't it, bro. That ain't it. I'm
Well, he's saying,
C35.
yeah. I mean, C35 is not at this point. That's not going to be the thing that tilts it. You needed like if you had like Well, yeah, you're in PM, so it doesn't even count.
Yeah, doesn't even count. Also,
Yeah.
Cajun, yes,
Oh,
that is 2,500 notifications.
what did Cajun say?
It's set at 2.5k notifications. That's what happens when you trade.
Oh, all right.
No, I don't give a fuck. Fucking Peter has bought 3 steel from you. I don't give a fuck. uh, all right, let's. What the fuck did we say? We say what the fuck did we say? We said weeb. All right, I'm gonna do.
Yes,
I'm
Weave, and
taking.
then TGA.
I do. And afterwards, now it becomes interesting. I'm kind of sad that BK isn't on this list. If they were,
Yeah,
I might put them as 15. But
yeah,
NW
but they
is another
didn't make
candidate.
the 25 cut, unfortunately for them. But yeah,
Yeah, I
BK
agree.
was very. I was impressed by them last war.
Yeah, I think people
They did very well.
haven't noticed them. They're kind of like a dark horse. The last war they were extremely good. I mean, when we were running the coalition, they were alliance I didn't expect to perform well at all. But talking to their MA people and seeing their turnout for the war, like really impressed me. Like BK
Yeah,
had like a absurd turnout.
their only issue was they turned out a little early twice. But
Yeah,
besides that, I mean,
they were a
they
little
did
too
pretty good.
eager. They were a little too eager.
Yeah,
They went before everyone else.
yeah, twice. I still can't believe that. That's fucking funny.
That was their only downside. If BK didn't go early, I think everyone would be sucking their dicks, like telling them how amazing they were.
Well, I mean, I was pretty. I mean, people. There were other alliances that were roasting about them later in the war, and I was like, "Oh, come on, guys, they did well. You guys don't have a right to criticize them." So
Yeah, they did really
they did
well.
very well. I was very impressed with them. I mean, Panther as a whole did, I think, performed a lot better than some of Panther.
Some yeah.
Mayhem kind of mayhem.
Man was
We don't
funny
talk
as
about
fuck.
mayhem.
Man was funny as fuck. That was actually hilarious, bro. I don't think we can even publicly say what happened with me.
Yeah, no, I don't know if you can.
That shit was funny as hell. But okay, yeah. Well, if BK was here, I would put BK. The other candidate is honestly name withheld is was also extremely good. Like very good. I was very
Well,
surprised.
I would actually put forth High Table as another candidate right now. The only issue is their tiering is pretty low, but let's have a look at that by comparison. I
And
don't know if
here's
I'd put them right
I
here.
think the next one is Arkham. I think we definitely have to recognize Arkham's whale tier and put them as 15th. I think
That's
anyone would pick them over them.
fair. Yeah, I agree. I mean, you've got here your options right now are Arkham, Sword Coast, High Table, Name Withheld,
And Legion.
um, and Legion. Yeah, I think that's fair as well.
I
A lot
think
of people might be
Arkham's
wondering why we aren't. Actually, I don't think anyone's wondering why we're not putting Immortals in that group. Now that I think about it, no one's. No one's surprised.
No one has said a
So,
word.
yeah.
All right. Anyway, let's. I think it's Arkham. Definitely, we have to recognize
Yeah,
their
I
usefulness
agree. I
of the
mean, they
range.
have C50s, which is if there was just 40s, that would be one thing, but they've got like C50s, so
And they grow,
pretty
man.
significant.
Oh fucking! Are you
They
serious?
do grow
It's day
very
change right
well.
now. Oh
Yeah,
god.
I just saw the same thing as you.
Fucking hell. But I break for 10 minutes now. So 15 for Arkham, and I don't know, bro. Because the thing with Immortals is they're all like C30s, bro,
I mean,
and
I wouldn't put Immortals here
they're
if
very
that's what you're
shitty
thinking.
C30s.
They're not
I
they're not good. I mean, they had attendance. They had good attendance, but we've just seen them collapse too many times. Immortals is an alliance where I feel like when they're on the defensive, they just completely collapse, and that's something you have to take into consideration. Is like,
Yeah, you can run tiering. Yeah, I do have a sheet for it. I don't give a fuck. I can't be fucked. So I think Sword Coast is Sword Coast is very good quality wise. Their tiering isn't the best, but it is improving recently.
oh, they did have some attendance issues last war, which we haven't actually seen them fix. I think they will fix it personally,
Well, who is better
but
than them is the question here.
that's fair.
I would say quality wise, they're on par with
I
net
think
health.
yeah. If you're talking about tiering, I'd say yeah, it probably has to be Sword Coast.
Yeah, I think it is Sword Coast here. And then
Yeah,
afterwards, I would claim name with health just because.
name
Well,
withheld, and then high table, in my opinion.
yeah, I would say that as well. Yeah, I think high table is a lot better than people think. They are very good.
Yeah, their only downside is tiering, but I mean, at a certain point, I mean, if you look at the stats against Camelot right now, I mean that's obviously in part because Camelot is at that tier, so they have a lot more targets, but they're crushing it at the moment.
They are, yeah. Let me actually pull that up because that isn't fucked. That isn't cooked. They're actually sort of carrying. They were carrying very much in the beginning. High table is number one in the entire war, and they have 380
Yeah,
offensive wars. They're fucking going hard. They have they have so many offensives. It's crazy. They've
yeah.
like
This is why I
single-handedly
wasn't
declared half the
sure
wars
where
on Camelot.
I kind of like, to be honest, like if it wasn't for tiering, I would put them above name withheld.
Yeah.
But
Well, they're also
their tiering's still
on.
too low
Did they
at the moment.
participate in the last global? I don't remember.
High table,
Yeah, I think they did.
I think so. Yeah, my
Yeah,
memory's fuzzy.
I think
TGH had a lot of other allies that joined the war, I believe.
you are. I think they definitely are 17th for sure.
All right,
And then I would say
okay,
name
I'll go.
withheld.
Yeah, and then I think at this point,
Slim
Immortals.
pickings. Yeah,
I think it's Immortals simply for sheer numbers at that point, even
sheer
if those
numbers. Yeah.
numbers are perhaps not the best. They
I
at least
dude,
have proven they can attend
I
a
don't
blitz.
know. Like, okay, look, if we were
Well,
betting, right? Let's game
let's
this
look
out.
who's left.
If
Yes,
we're betting,
oh, Legion actually,
yeah, that is true.
maybe
I think Legion is above
Legion is the
TGH.
only one here that I think could compete with Immortus. Isn't Legion pretty high tiered as well? Are they in like upper 30s?
Relatively, yeah, yeah. They're better tier than TI, that is for sure. I would
I think
say
they're.
they're
Let
above
me
TI.
find them. Oh right, it's still turn changed. Yeah, because turn changed last 4 hours.
Yeah, I don't know why they have the turn change during peace. They claimed it's because the whole thing is because of spy attacks, but who the fuck is? Well, I don't know. It's fucking silly. It's fucking torture. Anyway, I think it's it. It's Legion for sure. And
Um, well, I would respond to Epi by saying that just because they don't have any defensives in the war doesn't mean that they haven't performed well. You can judge their performance based on, like, I mean, the fact that they have we're not going based just on their net. We're going back based on like the amount of defensive declared, what the damage is done, and that.
Well,
Just
here's the thing.
having that level of effort is says something about an alliance. I think.
Here's the thing, Caster. I don't think Camelot is better than Legion. I think I would put Legion above Camelot for just overall hard power. But you know what I will say, Sketch? I will say Camelot is
Did
probably
Camelot do
higher
better?
than TI.
I don't know about that. I mean, how did they do this war? I haven't looked, to be honest. But I remember last war they were
I
not
mean, it's a
great. And
suicide.
yeah, but even when a suicide, I mean, wow. Actually, our last war with them was a suicide, and they didn't show up. So
Well, no, Epi, it is. It's not only tiering. It is also competence. That's why TI is so low. It's a bit of both. Um. So
and
yeah,
it's also tiering and just the actual capacity to fight. I mean,
to
maybe we
fight. Yeah.
break this down. Yeah, like it's very much about how well tiered they are, how aggressive they are. I guess like, do they show up? Do they declare wars? Competence. It's not just one thing or another thing.
Here's the thing. If
Um,
if I was a betting man, if I had two horses, Camelot and Ti in a 1v1, I would probably put money on Camelot. Just the sheer will to fight.
I I don't know, man. I mean, it's hard to say, but like, I mean, I still remember that. I mean, their attendance in the Eclipse War in the beginning was good, and like if they had that attendance versus Camelot, they would absolutely wipe them. It wouldn't even be close because they have better
Maybe
tiering
they don't.
and they have better. Well, they
Actually,
do though.
Camelot. I think Camelot might have better tiering than Ti right now. Camelot has like
I
38s
don't
right
know.
now,
Well, 38, yeah, like a handful.
like 8 or 10
That's
or
I don't think
something.
8 or 10 38s.
Yeah,
When did
something like
when
that.
did that happen? Let me have a look.
Recently, I would love to look if it wasn't fucking turn change for 25
All
years.
right,
Maybe we should.
still turned.
Next time we show us the show after turn change, so this doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we can. It's 2 minutes. Oh fuck, I don't want to wait. I guess we can start from the bottom now. Wait, let's see. So who is the worst alliance on this list? I probably Antarctica again.
Yeah. I mean,
I'll,
Antarctica is like it's full of it's full of non-discords.
yeah,
So
yeah.
they're probably I think they've got some individual good fighters. Yeah, I mean, you would say that, Caster. But I don't know about that. I'm not just gonna trust you.
I look at Boron. He's like, oh, TFP is higher than
One,
TGH,
one
but
finally showed up.
TFP would wipe your
Of
ass.
course, of course, TFB's higher than TGH and hard power. What do you mean, Juan?
It's way bigger than you did.
Yeah, I feel like you're just sleeping on TFP.
Yeah, you're also just sleeping. Yeah, you don't understand TFP. TFP is a lot better nowadays.
TFB is way bigger than you tiering wise, and they have 3 times your member count.
Okay, so Borhan, are you
Yeah,
saying
but
if you fought TFP, you think
TFB
you
is
would
not
win?
mortal. Yeah, I think Borhan is just trapped in like the mindset of TFP being bad and doesn't realize that they're not that bad.
Yeah, doesn't realize they have Schwinn.
Well, no, I don't think TI would beat TGH.
That is true. Yeah, I think TGH would probably beat. Yeah, the problem with TI
Well, that doesn't
is
matter though. It's not about damage. It's about winning, really.
yes.
I mean, of course, you do more damage. They have more damage to take, and you have less. Well, at a point, sure, but when we're judging hard power, we're judging the capacity to win a war. What is that alliance's impact on a war going to be? If you add them to your column, how much impact is it going to be? Well, like now you're just getting into like semantics, Born, about winning. Everyone understands by winning you mean capturing the tiers that you need to force the others. If you're turreting, you're losing. Is the answer to that question?
Yes. And
You
also,
can debate whether or not you're actually losing or whatever, but well, no, I don't think so. I think you would beat Ti. I don't think Ti is very good.
yeah. Ti is like, I think people underestimate how shockingly bad Ti is. They're like absolutely horrendous. I mean, like a
This was
quarter
all
of their
our goal all
players.
along.
Yeah, to just get everyone
Yeah,
angry.
yeah, and to unite TGH and Cam against us. It's all part of the strategy.
You've united TGH Cam on this. This whole thing was just our way of piecing you out. There you go. You're
This
welcome,
is just a
guys.
psyop.
You're welcome, guys.
But yeah, I think it's Immortals here
All
over
right,
Camelot
I'll forfeit it just to
because
make Epi mad.
and then I mean again I mean I think Antarctica Alliance is last despite casters protesting. I think I mean I will say for AA's benefit that they have some individual. Okay, Borhan.
All right.
I feel like I need to establish what hard power means because it's very clear you're not understanding. This isn't a who's better list. This isn't a quality list. If it was a quality list, this would be very different. This
Yes.
is a how strong they are on paper in reality. How much weight that can they actually wield? Grumpy obviously is stronger than Guardian tiering wise. I feel like that's not hard to establish.
Yep.
They might not be as competent. I think Guardian's a better alliance, but if you had to pick one to be on your side in a winning situation, well, no, because it's not just tiering power; it's also competence and ability as well. It's just that's not the only factor we're using. Well, no, because it's not binary. We're not using one or the other. We're considering both.
Yes. It's both combined. I think it's just very clear Boron's
Disagree.
view of what is strong isn't very correct. All right. Anyway, let's keep moving. If he's gonna object to the whole fucking list, we're gonna just sit here for 3 hours debating him. Let's fucking move
Yeah,
on.
that's fair. Yeah. Okay.
I I
Well,
think I think Camelot is
Cam.
third. Yeah, it's Cam definitely, and it becomes slim pickings, bro. I think TLM is 24th. I can't give him anything higher and sign off on this list. And then
And I think
it's
it's now. I don't know. I need to actually go back and look at the stats to know this one. I think
I actually
it's like
don't
I remember.
know. I don't think I've ever seen
You
Gator fight.
well, okay. I feel like Gato might have done all right last war, but I honestly I wasn't paying that much attention, so I'm gonna have to look.
Fucking Warhan thinks he can fight TFP. Fucking crazy.
I mean,
Oh yeah, you can fight, but
context.
you'll lose. Yeah, sure.
Well,
Okay,
there's
we
also
agree. You can
context
fight.
here. We're talking about a situation like if you wanted to judge this objectively, the best way you would look at it is a situation where the two alliances are fighting each other and they both know what's happening and they're both reasonably prepared. There are definitely situations where some of these alliances that are lower on the rankings could beat an alliance above them if they had the advantage, like if they had the surprise advantage and or even just the blitz advantage. Like we've got Eclipse at 1 and Rose at 2. I think if Rose blitzed Eclipse, obviously Rose would
They would
win.
win. Yeah.
Yeah.
If they blitzed each other, is sort of what we're thinking. If they blitzed each other, most
Yeah.
people think Eclipse would
Or
come out on top. So
yeah, or like if you added them to a coalition, how much impact would they have in that coalition?
that is true. Yeah.
Yeah, well, Valeni's correct. That's the actual answer. You want both of them. There you go. I mean,
Each
Grumpy
FPG.
and Guardian together is probably better than any individual alliance. maybe Rose and Eclipse, but I don't know. I think that those alliances together would be the number one
All right.
if we were working that way. But
We're
anyway,
we're still arguing with Borhan instead of rating. Let's think.
I can't even load up the conflicts at the moment. What's going on?
Let me see. Well, what are you? You're using fucking CTO if that's the case. That's obviously a
Nah,
mistake.
I'm using Borg's
Alright,
website. It's
I can
taking a
look
bit
it
to
up.
load.
Let me find Gato.
Very slow at the
There
moment.
they are. How did they do? Look at that shit. Where even
All
are they
right.
on the list? Where the fuck? I can't even find them. Jesus fucking. Where the fuck is? What are they? Dude, my.
Global.
I almost sort of
Put
Grand
global in.
Alliance. Yeah, they're fucking. They're even.
All right. How did UPN do?
That's a very good.
I thought UPN did fine, but I really only
They
paid
did
attention
better.
to name withheld and PK. Okay, well we'll go with UPN because they also have better tiering.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they did definitely have better tiering. That is for sure. It's just they're sort
All
of an
right.
undead alliance.
Yeah, well I don't know. Maybe they're getting a little bit. I mean, they perform better this war than I thought they would have, based on previous.
All right, now econ. I think this might be the most objective column. It's not hard
Uh,
to.
I don't know. I think it'll be hard power. There's going to be some tricky ones because you have to take into context winning versus losing, size. I mean, we have all the data, so
That is true. Yeah, I think you're just wrong, Buran.
yeah, I don't think we're going to agree with you on that one, Boran. I
That
think that
is false.
I understand where you're coming from. I know what you're thinking. I just don't think you know what we're thinking.
If
I
if
don't
we're
think you
gonna
get what
be
we're saying.
if we're gonna be fair, Borhan, the difference isn't very high, and I think very highly of Guardian. That's why they're so high on the list. That's why I think they would beat the shit out of all of these other alliances, KT and TFP. They could
Yeah, I
beat them
mean, if
for
you're talking about like disposition as well, then sure, I'd put Guardian above them. Like if you're factoring in FA considerations, like the fact that Guardian has more balls, then sure, I would agree with you. But we're kind of just keeping it to the on paper facts and only taking into account how they actually perform and their tiering. And Grumpy has the most high level tiering in the game at the moment. So obviously,
Yeah, Grumpy's is
you have
extremely
to,
strong.
you have to, yeah. But I mean, it is close.
It
I
is
will give you
close, yeah.
that.
Econ. Number one, Rose. I think we don't have to argue very much about that.
No, I don't.
They're the highest spenders, highest earners, consistently, always.
Yeah. Yeah, the hardest thing to judge with econ is because obviously some alliances have advantages that from time. Like for example, you can make an argument here that it should be Syndicate at number 2 because they have a bunch of land and shit, and that like makes them grow better. But there's also just the how long they've existed gives them a buff, I suppose, over
And
everyone else.
it's how good do they utilize what they have.
Yeah, well, that's more part of it, I think.
Yeah. Eclipse spends the second most in the game.
Yeah. Yeah, but they're relative to size. I don't think I wouldn't put Eclipse at 2 on Econ. I wouldn't even put them in at 3. Maybe we'll disagree. I have some controversial opinions. I don't think Eclipse's growth comes from poaching and gaining people from other alliances more so than it does
Well,
from raw growth, in my opinion.
their economy is also very undeveloped. Like they don't have a lot of food producers, and like majority of the lines aren't food producers. Only
Well,
selective.
I would counter by that by saying they've had time to develop it, more time than we have, and we've developed ours. So
Yes.
I think
Well, yeah, but
I
that's what I'm
would not
saying. I'm
put.
saying that's a
Ah,
negative for
are
them.
you agreeing with me? Okay, fair enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think you might be correct in saying Syndicate is number 2.
It's between Syndicate, us, and EVH right now, I think.
I think
I would
just
put Eclipse at 4th, personally. Wait, is that 5th? Yeah, I put Eclipse at 5th, straight out of the gate, in my opinion.
yeah. I think that is definitely. I think people think that's a controversial thing. If you look at the numbers, I think that the numbers back that up. If not for their size, they're not. I don't think they're very
Well,
efficient.
it's also worth noting that they've won more than anyone else over time,
That is true.
which should be a buff, but they're only just keeping level with like growth relative to size. They're only keeping level with other alliances that are majors. So
Which have lost.
yes, yeah. I mean, well, the reason they're 5th is because second largest revenue isn't. It's not about revenue. If it was just revenue, we would just put the revenue in
Yeah.
column one, and
Yeah.
that would be it.
That
This
would
is
be it.
specifically about growth. It's how they use the money and how they invest it and where they choose to invest it. And Eclipse has a lot of revenue, but I don't know that they focus it as effectively as other alliances do. EVH is difficult because EVH has had a lot of like really high outlier um periods where they grew a lot, but they did. I think they had a big bank from Aurora. I think so. I'm not sure. It's hard to judge EVH because they're too new. You need data over a longer period of time, which people might be like, "What do you mean? They've been around for like months and months and months." But
Yeah. A year in this game is very short.
yeah, for econ purposes, it's very difficult to judge EVH based on that because it's obvious that they had large amounts of influx of cash from previous alliances, and you could just argue that that's them doing bad econ previously and then making up for it in the meantime by now actually investing the money.
Well, who do
So
you think is number 2? I said
us,
Syndicate. Oh, you do? You think
us,
you think so?
us, or Syndicate. It's hard. I'm gonna point out that we've lost twice and Syndicate hasn't, and yet we've maintained growth with all of those alliances.
Well, we've
It's
also
hard because Syndicate has
out.
that food buff.
Yes, we've also outgrown EVH. We started at 33 and they started at 37, and we're on par now.
Correct. Yes.
I think.
I think we're above EVH on growth personally.
Yeah.
I would give it to I think it's Syndicate at 2. I'll give it to Syndicate. I think so it's very close, but I'd say probably
Yeah.
Syndicate.
Yeah.
We
Well,
will see because
they also have it
right
easier.
now they're not growing, but they've lost. Syndicate doesn't handle losing very well growth wise. We we handle it better.
I think we
We
handle
still
it.
grow when we lose.
I think we handle it the best out of any alliance.
Well, yeah,
Losing.
yes.
Yeah, I think we're number 3 and EVH number 4 for sure.
Yeah, and then I think it's Grumpy at 6, and Grumpy grows better than
Yeah.
TKR.
Yeah, they're very consistent.
They are almost always. I mean, obviously, them being. It's not surprised because they're the oldest nations. They have food buffs and other stuff, but they obviously organize it well enough. You think we're
Yeah.
rating TKR too high? Um, see, I'm going to counter that by saying that the growth curve for alliances drops dramatically outside of the top couple of alliances. Well, I agree, but I also, I mean, I'll pull up some stats and show you. But I'll have a look at those stats and I'll tell you what I think. WAP has
Well,
grown well, but WAP hasn't grown as well as you're saying they've grown.
well, I have the sheet open on my tab. I could just tap to it, and we can look at growth.
Let me open
I'm not
your
sure if you want me to show
stream.
it to everyone though.
Hold on, I need to pop out. this shit and look at your screen for a second. Oh, I mean value growth sheet? Yeah, you can show
Yeah.
them.
All right. Well, let me actually find where is the growth of size.
There. This is only for this month though at the moment. But as you can see, I mean Grumpy is number one. That is to be fair, that's inevitable simply because per person they have um more land, more infra. They're older, so that's obviously going to play an impact
Well, Cookie, the problem with
in
that
growth
is
of size.
the potential to grow means that you have the ability to like means you're efficient and thus you have the ability to grow. So I don't think that what you're saying goes into account. I think we should stop listening to fucking Castor and Borhan and
No.
just
Oh yeah. Look. Nah. Now we go. Sometimes you got to respond to the chat. You know, even if
uh,
it's always responding to Bohan.
yeah, that's true. At
I
least
don't. Is he disagreeing with us at the moment? I think it's Caster now that's disagreeing.
now it's Castor. Yeah. He's just saying that.
Yeah, exactly. Bohan is correct. If you have higher potential growth and you're not utilizing it, that's inefficient.
Yes.
Um, but I would say that Grumpy is very good at utilizing their growth, which is why
Yes.
I would say that they're there.
I think
I
we
think
go for Grumpy.
I think it's Grumpy.
And here you would think, oh, Grumpy and then Guardian. No, I think Guardian is much lower on this list than sixth. I mean, seventh.
Guardians improved a lot. I'll give them that. They've gotten a lot better. I remember when we were allies, I would have put them in like 15th or something. But now they're definitely top 10. But yeah, I don't think they're here. I think now is where it gets tricky actually, because there's some other alliances to consider. Um, obviously TKR. TKR is a tricky one because
Tricky
they've
one.
lost twice as well.
Recently, their system has gotten better. They've switched it. What they're doing now is they're essentially copying Rose's system, and they're, in my opinion, just doing a Rose at home. Like it's slightly worse than Rose's system. It's like
Yeah.
they're doing the same shit. We're up to C30, I think. They tax like 75%, and then afterwards it's like 15 or something like that, if I
Um,
remember.
to respond to Cass, even though I know you don't want me to, TFB does grow well. TFB hasn't been growing as well lately as they were many months ago.
Yes.
So they've been growing worse than they used to. If this was, I would say, before the last set, like last year, I would have put TFP would be like in the top 4 or probably, but right now I wouldn't. I would say they're not growing as well as they were.
Who do you think is seventh?
This is where it gets very tricky because it could be TKR, it could be. I mean, it could be TFP, it could be WAP. Let me
Well,
go look. I mean, numbers for this month, but obviously, what I'll do is I'll actually pull longer term numbers so that people. Yeah, counterpoint to that, Epi, is that loans are smart if you invest the money right and then use that to profit off. So it's not. It depends on the interest rates you're getting and such. But if you can take a big ass loan on a small interest rate and then invest it correctly, it's going to profit, which is like literally better. So
yes.
that's high efficiency econ. I don't know if that's what TFB is doing. I don't think they're doing that now, but doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad. There is on small cities and on land, which is what TFP has been investing in. TFP has
Yes.
been investing in land rather heavily.
People
They're
underestimate
the
how developed TFP is. They're extremely developed with their land.
yeah. The TFP does have other issues though. Their builds are a bit wonky. But if we get into
Okay.
talks about builds, that also applies to TKR, I think.
And Guardian.
And Guardian, yeah.
Guardian's builds are cooked in my opinion. But yeah, let's think objectively. Let's compare. Also, WAP is a contender because WAP does very well. I had a talk with their econ guy recently. And most of their alliances on high taxes doing growth circles. They have a main 35 and a C40 circle. And what they've done is, obviously, WAP has never lost a war ever. So they've only been
Yeah.
winning, and they've capitalized on it. But they have capitalized on it. I mean, they went from C22 to C35 now in like a year. So they've done like very, very well.
I'm gonna switch the view of that sheet to the beginning of this peace cycle, the 1st of October. So that should give us a little bit of a better idea of what we're dealing with at the moment.
What the fuck? We're number one. Is this true?
Yeah.
All
Well, of
right.
course.
Of course, yes. I wasn't doubting it for a second, and then this doesn't support our theory that TKR. Well, I will say TKR recently has gotten
Well, yeah,
better.
TKR's an outlier, so TKR's had a good 2 periods now. Whether or not that will translate further is something we've got to see. They've been at peace too, which also impacts it. They've had longer to wind up their econ, so
That
it's
is
very
true.
difficult to judge. TKR's a difficult one to judge because it's hard to know if they've significantly improved and are now competing with everyone, or if they're just having good periods. You have to take with econ, you kind of have to take it across a longer period of time. You can't really just go one period or another. So we'll see. I think by the time we do another one of these, we'll have a better idea. I think of the econ.
That is true. Well, I'll let you take the who is next.
I'm
Uh,
gonna say TKR's next simply because I do think they're having a good run, and maybe that will continue for now. And then
People
I
are.
think it's Guardian or WAP,
I
but
don't know.
WAP.
I think Guardians. Guardian's not gonna like me after I say it. Here's the thing with Guardian, right? Guardian earns very little compared to what they really should. I mean, Guardians rebuilds are extremely low, and per tier, they make less than everybody else. Like on average, their average nation makes less in their tier than almost like any other alliance, just because they build very low. I think they're still in this mindset of, um, like the old mindset of if you build low infra, you're a competent alliance, or like, do you know what I mean? Like back in the day, people used to build like
Yeah,
peak
I know
infra,
it. Yeah, I remember.
and they
Yeah.
haven't switched to the new meta at all, especially not to the recent commerce changes. I think they just never adapt really. Um,
Yeah, that's the case with a lot of old alliances. They aren't as reactive to the game. I mean, I remember noticing that a lot of them hadn't switched their commerce builds with the new commerce update, which
yes,
that was pretty like a lot of. I mean, a lot of people didn't do it, but they stood out at the
I
time. I
pulled out a
remember.
sheet back then to check how much people have adapted to the update. Like 2 weeks after the update kicked through, like 60% of all of the nations haven't adapted to the commerce changes. It was like it took people forever, man.
Yeah, they do make decent amount, but in this case, we're judging their actual ability to grow rather than necessarily their
Inefficiency
income. Yeah, yeah, basically their efficiency at growing.
is
I
really
mean,
bad.
their efficiency and their total potential to grow. I mean, potential to grow does have an impact, but it's mostly efficiency that we're talking about. Because I mean, if we were just judging purely based on efficiency, TKR would probably be lower. Some of these other alliances might be lower as well. Although there's a big drop off in quality once you get past a few top alliances. I think WAP goes here.
I think, yeah,
Like
I have to give it to WAP. I mean,
I'll
they're
I'll
smaller.
give it to WAP over Guardian, but I do think Guardian TFB over time has done better, but it's kind of funny. I mean, TFP and Guardian are kind of the reverse of each other right now, where TFP seems to be growing less now, while Guardian seems to be growing a lot more. There was a long period there where Guardian, when we were allied to them, where Guardian was not growing very well.
Here's
Um,
another thing. I'm doing the KT review right now, and I'm sort of a KT connoisseur myself. I know a little too much about them right now, and one thing that I will say, KT builds very well. KT builds are extremely good, and not only are they extremely good, but they're very developed. Like behind Grumpy and Guardian, KT has the most food producers, like as a percentage in the game, and utilizes more land than any other alliance. They're only behind Guardian and Grumpy in that sense. Like when you're looking at them economically, that's who you lump them with. Even though historically they've lagged behind in growth, and actually KT at the beginning of the year was very good. Like they've grown very fast. They've slumped in the last 2 months after the last war. They've grown very poorly. But other than that, they're pretty good. Like they're fairly good.
Yeah, I'm gonna lean towards Guardian simply because Guardian has been on the uptick lately, and I feel like between these three, it's kind of interchangeable. But you could make an argument for TFP and KT. I mean, builds wise, the thing is, if it was purely based on builds, I'd say this is KT. But if it's
Yeah.
based on spending,
I actually have a sheet for
like
that,
efficiency,
or a graph for it. I'll use it from
yeah,
my review. Let me actually show you. Can I copy this? Is this possible? Or is my PC not gonna let me?
these three are very close on this. I would say.
Oh, I'm not allowed to post images. Oh fuck. Is Seafire here? Seafire. Seafire, please. I can't post images in listener chat. Seafire, please. Seafire.
Hold on, I'm a admin now. Apparently, aren't I?
Can
Can
you
I?
make me? Can you make me an admin? Can you give me something?
I don't know. I don't know if I can or cannot.
Fuck. Can you post
Um,
the image for me, maybe?
yeah, I can probably post the image for you.
Post
That'd be
this. This is for
easier
KT
than.
and Guardian.
All right. Uh,
Fixed? Oh shit.
oh, he
Oh, I can
fixed
do
it
it.
for you.
There we go. There we go. All right. Oh, we both posted. This is comparing investments for KT and Guardian. As you can see, KT was starting to overtake Guardian at the beginning of the year, and I was hyped. I was like, "Holy shit!" But obviously, KT has fought. I will say, KT has fought probably the most out of any alliance this year. They've been in 3 wars. They were in our war at the beginning, and they fought the Eclipse War against House, and then they were also in the last war.
Yeah, I
Um,
think day count wise, they I think it's them, then us, then I think Rose now would be third because they're fighting Camelot.
yeah.
I
So
think that's right.
I think only recently Guardian, in the last 2 months, Guardian has really overtaken KT in investments, for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So
yeah.
it's hard to. I You know what? You've convinced me.
What?
Well, I don't know if you're trying to convince me that it should be KT over Guardian, but
No,
that's
I
you
think
have.
I slimly agree that Guardian is above KT. Very slimly.
uh, Both convinced me to the opposite position that I had, and now he's like, oh,
Well, I think I
it's
think
actually
it's
Guardian.
Guardian and then KT for sure.
All right,
I
we'll
think
go
they're
with that,
peers.
and
I think
then
very close.
it's probably TFP. Although
Then it's
again,
TFP.
it's hard to judge based. I'm gonna give it to them because over time they've done really well, even if they're slumping right now. This is
Yeah.
where it gets interesting. I would say now it's probably Arkham.
Ooh, you think so? I actually don't know much about Arkham econ.
Arkham grows very well for an alliance of their size. I assume it's because of um, private enterprise. I'm guessing. I don't actually know, but I mean they built people from fucking nothing to like C51 pretty fast. So yeah, I think Arkham makes a lot of sense here. Also, Arkham's consistently one of the better performers on my sheet every month. Um, they're always overperforming from size. Obviously, that's because per person they're way bigger. But even if you go based on city count, total city count, they're always like they're ninth growth versus size. And again, you can factor in land and other things, but that's just being efficient. It means they've developed correctly over time.
Alright,
So
that's not done and done.
I think it's easily Arkham then. And then it's trickier
Yeah, it gets
from here.
harder the lower on we go, honestly.
Let me reorder the value sheet by size so we can see. Like Immortals is not growing. Historically, they did very well growing, but right now they've kind of fallen apart. Which,
For obvious reasons.
well, yeah, I mean they're also currently getting nuked, so that'll have an impact on it.
They're getting cooked, yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of in a limbo state where it's hard to judge them until we see how they bounce back from a lot of this. Legion grows well, but that's also the old nation buff, and I wouldn't say that's necessarily true historically. TSC grows well.
Spectre does okay.
Spectre isn't that great. I'm gonna be honest. Spectre's not that
Well,
good. I mean, they've had
LRD
a
did
good period
pretty good
recently, but
before.
yeah, and then they fell off, and it's been a while since they bounced back, and DB wasn't growing very well either before.
Without you, yeah.
Uh, well, not even well, yes, without me, but also even initially, I think when Toxic took over, they had some growth, but then it just dropped off. I don't know. I have some theories about why that might be, but I won't go into it. Feel for the man.
All right.
Um,
Well, yeah. Who do you think is next?
yeah. Very very hard to judge. I mean, Camelot might
That
be
is true.
next, actually.
That is very true, yeah.
I think Camelot. I mean, obviously Camelot's had a rough cycle now, but we all know why that is. But historically, Camelot's been growing very well. It's one of the areas that they've tiered up considerably. I mean, we helped them a lot with their style. I talked to Epi a bit about it, and since then, I mean, since they started actually growing, rather than staying in the
See,
20s, they've been doing good.
every time an alliance copies what we do, they become 5 times better, at least. Well, it's same thing can be said for the high table. Ever since they started doing what
Oh,
we do,
TGH.
and TGH, yeah, and WAP.
Yeah, Yeah, I don't know if WAP copied us. I don't know if we ever talked econ with them.
No, sure, I'm just kidding.
Actually, I think WAP's always grown well from what I've seen. So they may have been using that system from the start. Because I remember looking at the sheets
Probably.
early on. Yeah, well, we're not talking about score epi. We're talking about like econ efficiency. Your tiering is what's going up more so than like poaching and so. I mean,
I
you
think you're
obviously
right. We
recruit
should
people.
we should go for Cam now for sure.
Oh wait, did we put Arkham in? No, we didn't. We didn't put Arkham.
Put Arkham in and then Cam.
And then I think it's Cam. And I will say at this point, even though recently they've been rough and we don't know where they're going to go, I think Immortals is probably here. Because they have grown historically really well in terms of econ. Their issue is they have other issues.
They have other issues. Yeah, I probably let's say that. Let's say
Yeah, I
14.
would say I would say 14. Yeah, Appy,
And
I think you're sleeping on your own growth. To be fair, I mean, we're not talking about wealth either. I mean, an alliance should be poor if they're growing well. If you're stockpiling fucking $300 billion in resources, that's inefficient.
that is
Right?
true. We're comparatively poor to a lot of alliances, but then you look at total investment, we're number one. That's because we spend everything.
Yeah.
So let's figure it out. What else do we have here? High table is somewhere high up on the list, and I would say Sword Coast system is very good. I had a talk with the Ericon guy as well after they fucking berated me for the review, and
I think is Sword Coast and High. I'm kind of want to give it to. I think High Table maybe. Just look. I mean, you go look at their tiering and you can see how organized it is.
it's very good.
It's very obvious that they've got a very locked in plan.
But they haven't
Um,
actually. their metrics aren't very good. I wonder why.
Yeah, it's hard. Well, the reason why is most of their alliance is tiny, and so they have
That
no
is very true.
development at
Yeah.
all.
They're very small, and they're fighting. That is true. They're fighting right now. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, that'll also impact it. So it's a toss up. I would give it maybe to Sword Coast, just because they're bigger, and
And
so that
we
which
can't forget TGH as well.
yeah, well, I would say TGH is probably. Actually, let me have a look at TGH. TGH is harder to judge because they've obviously started to get better. But they've been fighting and they've had little tiffs and things.
Yeah, it will be much
Maybe
easier to
yeah, maybe
judge
Sword Coast, then TGH,
high
then High
table.
Table. I think.
I would say that. I think if TGH wasn't getting into skirmishes all the time, I think their growth would be a lot more obvious. But it's just they lose a lot when getting nuked all the fucking time.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go Sword Coast, TGH, and then High Table, and then it's harder. Maybe the Legion,
I'm not
maybe Spectre.
criticizing your
I think it's
playstyle. I'm just saying like growth wise, that's what's impacting. I said your growth would be easier to notice and see, and more representative of how well you run your system if you weren't fighting all the time. That's it. That's a compliment, Borhan. Legion should be out of. I don't know. Is it my Serbian accent? This is just aggressive to you. Everything I say is.
I think it's Weebinism next.
Yeah, I think the data backs that up as well for sure. They bought a lot more cities.
Weebinism is fairly consistently mid, which everyone else on this list is, I wouldn't even say consistently mid most of the time.
Well, if you look at the cities they've bought a bunch of 37s recently. So they're concentrating their investment there. It's pretty good.
Yep, I'm going to say it's Weebinism. And then this is where it gets tricky. I mean, probably, what's Legion? I haven't actually looked at Legion for a bit. Legion doesn't stand out growth wise
No,
usually. Oh, they're doing all right now currently. I'd say Legion maybe next.
probably. The thing with Legions, they also take a fucking forever to ramp up.
Yeah, it's that old alliance lethargy.
Old
I
man
think
bones. I'm thinking, when is the time we include Spectre? I mean,
I'm gonna look. I'll look for you, Bezes. But historically, you guys are really old and you're not very big, so
yeah, well,
it's
I think
kind of
they're.
hard for me to kind of hard for me to. You might have had a good run recently, but I think historically, you guys should be way bigger. Is the thing I think.
Well, also, they just merged recently. So that's what's helping them, I think. I think. I don't know, man. I don't know if Legion is better than Spectre and Neighborhood Held, honestly.
Spectre, they're better than Spectre. I don't think Spectre is. I'm just going based on the previous two alliances. DB was not growing well towards their end. I mean, they were a pretty big alliance, and neither was LOD. And maybe over time that'll change now that they've merged together.
Yeah.
But even right now, for a post-merger, well, put it this way, I don't think they even currently have an organized econ. I can't say why I think that, but I know certain things about DB and LOD and their current merger that would suggest that they're not growing as effectively as they probably should be. Just put it that way. So I would put Name Withheld above Spectre right now,
All right,
honestly.
let's do it. And let's say Spectre. I think Spectre is 21. There's no way they don't lose against these alliances. I think Antarctic Alliance might not be last for this one. I'm not gonna lie. Antarctica, people shit on them, but they do grow.
They do grow
So
pretty well, yeah. They actually grow very well. They're pretty organized. They're very often the most cities per member or close to it. They for an alliance of their like if you look on this sheet, like two cities per member, they bought 261. They're very effective growers. To be honest, looking at this now, they actually might be a little bit higher. I think I'd actually put them a little. I might put them. I'd put Antarctica Alliance at 19th. Actually, I think we might have forgotten them
I
along the
don't
way.
know. I don't know.
Uh,
I wouldn't say
I
so.
mean, they have been pretty consistently purchasing cities. Let's
But
have a look at their tiering.
I'll say that's only because they're so small, and because
Yes,
well,
of course. They have.
and be and because they're also completely, I think, uncentralized. I think people just buy their own shit.
Yes, yes.
I don't
Well, at the
think you
very
can.
least, I would put them. I'd put them above Spectre.
Oh my, that's crazy.
uh,
That's
I'm
crazy.
just gonna say it.
You think so? I don't know, man.
Right now, yeah. I mean, Spectre has the opportunity to change my mind over the next coming months,
We
but
should, we should embarrass them by putting Antarctica above them so that they pull hard and change our minds.
no. Well, what I've found is the best way to get people to grow is to stop being their ally. Seems like every time we stop being someone's ally, they start growing.
Yeah, this is your 72 hour notice. All right, fuck it. You know what? Let's do it. I'm doing it. If you want. Oh, what the
Yeah,
fuck?
yeah.
This is what I wanted to do. There you go. And then between these three, I don't fucking know. I think T
TLM.
is last, maybe.
I don't know. Let me have a look at the numbers.
TLM.
UPN should be way bigger. I think UPN is last, to be honest. UPN should be so much bigger than they are, especially since they've also gotten a lot of peace compared to other alliances. They haven't been at war as much. There's really no reason for UPN to be the size that they are. But it's pretty
They
bad. I
don't grow.
mean, they just don't grow. Yeah, I think UPN's last on this list,
Yeah.
and then I think it's probably. Did we miss a number? No, we didn't. It's 22 there. So I think it's Gator than UPN. Gator than TLM.
Yeah. All right. Let's see what
I
the
think that's
final
the
rank
final
is.
list. All
Let's rank
right.
it. AZ, which is damn. Well, how the fuck did we pull? Oh, I see. Well, it's Eclipse, Rose, Singularity, then Event Horizon, then TKR, then the Syndicate, GOB, Guardian, Spectre, KT. This is probably the most accurate list that's ever been posted. I think this is very accurate. WAP, Weebianism, TSC, Archon. Let's see if there's anything cooked. No, I think this is all correct. TI, Legion, THT, Camelot. I maybe would expect. Well, the problem is their FA and the quality, I think.
No,
UPN,
I think
TLM.
that's right.
I think this is very accurate. Yes.
Well, there you go. That's the rankings. I'll post a screenshot
Cook up station.
in the cook up station.
Yeah.
That's the final rank. That only took us almost 2 hours.
It took us
Well,
2 fucking hours.
I was thinking, man, how are we gonna fill the extra time? No, I mean, we need to thank Borhan for constantly arguing with us.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're now gonna go. I think we should wrap the show off. Oh, actually, we haven't even talked about all the other shit we wanted to talk about. Like, what are we gonna do with
Yeah,
the
no,
show in the future?
yes, yeah, yeah. Well, it's good. I mean, we managed to fill out a whole show with that one thing. So, I mean, now we have more things to talk about in the future. That'll be helpful.
Yes. Well, here's the well, we wanted to discuss like global war performance. We didn't even get around to that. I think it's too much
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
We to
first I'm
wrap
gonna
it up. Yeah.
shill the role. You all should go to the menu and uh, sign up for our role. It's called PWFD, so that when we do these, we can ping you for it in the future. So we don't have to ping the whole fucking server every time. Um,
Yeah, so
and
a big part of what we want to do is, I mean, a lot of the other shows bring on guests. We will probably bring on guests as well. But we also want to do shows where we just go through stats and talk about some of the things that don't get enough much highlight in the game. I guess people don't really break down things as much as they used to. But we're also going to talk politics and shit. A lot of shit. There'll be a lot of shit talking. This is an interesting starting point for us because we were pretty tame on this one.
oh, extremely. We're definitely in the future gonna bring political actors on and interview them. We're also gonna get people on and have them talk to each other, like different alliance leaders. One idea that we had is we could get like a micro alliance leader to talk to like a very competent alliance leader. Like imagine you had the leader of Antarctic Alliance talking to like Veins or something. That'd be funny as fuck. I would fucking watch the shit out. That would be great.
Yeah,
And
we're gonna bring Kegos on eh, maybe next episode or the episode after to talk about design team stuff, so people can know what the hell's going on with that, I guess. And we'll roast the shit out of him for being too slow, even though it's not his fault. We'll do it anyway.
yeah, well, looking at it this way, Borhan, we weighted FA pretty highly, but TS is above TKR in hard power and econ and EVA.
Well, I will say, Borhan, as well. It's worth noting TS has one ally right now, and this is a ranking of where they are now, not where they are historically or where they are like their legacy or whatever. It's not a judgment on that. It's just how are they currently? How have they been doing over time? Is what we're looking at. So like, by the time we do another one of these, which I assume will be, I don't know, we could do one every month or every 2 months.
I think we'll do one when there's a significant change because I don't think anything's
Yeah,
gonna change in a month.
that's fair. Yeah, if there's a
Yeah,
significant change, we'll do another one. I think that's the right way to do it. Yeah,
yeah. That's when
and
people usually do
I
this.
imagine Syndicate will go up. I mean, they really only have room to go up, to be honest.
Yes. I think if it wasn't for the current position, they would be 3 or 4 probably.
Yeah, well, they're very tanked by their positioning.
No, their influence is 5, Borhan. Fifth,
Yeah,
and their positioning is 11th.
yeah,
Yeah, well, if you don't agree with that, all I'm gonna do is show you the treaty web, and then you can
yeah. I mean,
see if you agree.
they have one they
They have
have
one
one
ally.
ally.
They're sitting in a
So
corner all alone, so they have very poor position right now.
I imagine by the time we do another one of these, that won't be the case anymore, and then they'll be back in
Probably
the top 5 easily.
easily, yeah. And in the other metrics, they crush. Like they crush econ and hard power, and their influence, even in their current position, is fifth. So I imagine that's gonna go up as well once they get into a better position. Anyway, what the fuck else we're gonna talk about? Yeah. So those are some of the things we're gonna
I'm starting to think Borhan doesn't understand anything we're saying.
do.
We're gonna do an after show in a second.
So we're just gonna
So
talk to
you can
Boran.
come on. You're
Yeah.
just gonna talk to Borhan, and he can argue with us the whole time about our metrics. Yeah,
Yeah. Fucking open this shit. He's
yeah.
gonna come in hard as a rock. He's gonna come in bricked up. What were the weightings? Oh yeah, we should probably discuss the weightings.
Actually,
So
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Let me
so
just.
it's this is the formula essentially. It's positioning and influence are doubled, right? Hard power is tripled. So if you combine FA, it counts for 4 points. Hard power is 3 points, and econ is 1 point. And then it is that averaged. So that's how it works. That is the formula.
It's fine. I mean, we can type it out if you want.
Type it here.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck me. Do I? I don't want it. Oh, I can just.
I'll
yeah.
do it.
Yeah, you do. I can't be fucked. And ping it so it sees it. Oh, actually, I don't ping them. So, did someone write in the stage channel? Who did that? Oh no, no one did.
That's the system we use. Some, if you're welcome to disagree with the metric, but we think that's the best way to judge.
Yeah, and the final ranks that we've received from it looks pretty.
To be fair, Borhan, we have literally explained the definition behind every one of those categories
Like
about like
5
7
times.
times. Yeah.
Like so many times.
Maybe okay. Right. Okay. Well, okay. So positioning is their position in the game. I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory. Like, are they a sphere leader? How big is the sphere? The best way to describe positioning, I think, is if you broke up all the spheres, how would you rank the spheres? Yeah. It's a mixture of treating ties, and hard power does play into it because if you're bigger, you can stand on your own more than someone who's smaller. So to some degree, your size does impact. But it's mainly positioning.
It's
It's like
also how you act. Are you likely to get hit because you talk shit all the time, or are you passive and good at staying hidden?
yes, and then influence is how much weight you throw around. There's and how much influence you can have over events in the game based on. The thing is, all these categories kind of play a little bit together. Like your influence is going to be influenced by your hard power, so is your positioning to a degree. So it's kind of making a perfectly objective and clearly stated like category is very difficult. But
Yeah.
I mean, if
Drop
you
the
drop the
algorithm.
algorithm, it's just the average. So we would just order the average, and that would be the. I don't know if he's on the. Are you streaming the actual page?
I don't know if he is.
Yeah. No, you are because you're the one streaming.
Yeah, but this is
Yeah.
the this is what it is.
Yes.
And
This is the final rank, but oh fuck. But if you ordered it by average, this would be the rank if we didn't have the formula.
yes.
So you can take that as you will, but we didn't think that these categories were necessarily even
Yeah, we don't think
in
econ
their
should have been weighed nearly as much as like hard power, for example. Because econ is all good, but if it doesn't equal in you being militarily stronger, then there's no point, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, plus ultimately econ, every time you do a new one of these, the econ of the last one will impact the hard power of the next one. So
It might, yeah.
yeah, it might if you grow.
Drop the API keys. Yeah, only if you needed my API, you don't. It's not like Alex gives me like special API or anything. I wish he did. He probably should. I should lobby for that. Anyway.
Yeah, I think we're good to wrap it up. That was
We're good to wrap it up. Oh yeah,
we'll
we should.
move into the open mic channel,
Yeah.
and people can join.
All right.
Although,
Seafire.
actually, does anyone have any specific questions before we move over? I
Before we
suppose,
move
other
into
than the
the
ones,
cancer.
yeah, other than the obvious ones like, what was the formula?
And why is my alliance not number one?
Yeah, and why is Grumpy higher than Guardian?
Yeah. And why is Spectre not last? Who was this? I think it was Dennis. Although,
ES is on it because we combined ES with TS.
yeah,
I mean, the city count on there is actually ES and TS combined. So
yes, yes. ES just inherits whatever TS does.
all
So a
right,
lot
I'm
of
gonna
people are
assume.
typing. Bezos is
Oh
typing.
yeah, Bez is typing. He's got a
I think
long question.
I think they're just a slow typer, old grandma typer. Also, Seafire, when we go down to open mic, please come with us, just in case anyone starts fucking ear raping. You can fucking ban. Did you commit to? We're gonna do it when there's a like a change. If the treaty whip stays exact same, I don't think there's a fucking point. If the whole treaty whip changes like tomorrow, we're gonna do one tomorrow.
Well, next show. I should say, not tomorrow.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we shouldn't commit to daily shows. I was debating asking a sarcastic, you motherfucker. We waited for you, and then you cocked us. You might as well post it now, even if it's stupid.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna do other things besides top 25s anyway. So there's gonna be more shows regardless. This is what we decided to do for the first show because I've always found these interesting. And I remember I was gonna do one with a bunch of different people, but then some people didn't respond, and then I got busy, and I was like, oh fuck it, I can't even be fucked.
Yeah, yeah.
Plus,
Well, we
Plus, our opinions are more accurate than all of their opinions anyway. Sorry, Valeni. So it's fine. This is the official correct list. All other lists are inferior to ours.
inferior. Uh, here's the other thing for our show. It's not just gonna be. I think it's interesting because we're not like just FA people. Like we have a very good understanding of alliance management. So I feel like, I mean, we're gonna bring in topics that you probably wouldn't get anywhere else. We're gonna yap a lot about game mechanics and the
Game
state of the
mechanics,
game.
yeah.
The state of the game along with FA, because we can also just bring FA people in. Like if we're gonna have like an FA show, we'll probably bring people in, like Veleny, for example, as well. We wouldn't just be alone in that case.
I don't know about Valeni. I mean, isn't he like 13th on the influence list?
Yeah,
We need to
he's
get a
like
bigger. We need to get a bigger guess than that, you know.
he's not very influential. We need to get a bigger name,
Yeah,
such as
yeah,
the Sword Coast Cipher.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We need to get Schwinn on.
That is true. Well, we probably will. We could probably get both of them
Oh
on.
yeah,
I think
yeah,
they're
yeah.
friends as
Schwinn,
well.
Schwinn would show up.
We should do George, Schwinn, and Velen. That'll be a fun show. Although George is gonna breathe
Jesus
all over
Christ.
his fucking mic, and I'm gonna fucking kill myself. He's just gonna be like Darth Vader in the fucking corner.
All right, I think we're good to move to open mic now.
What was the question Bezer said? This is
Did
the
he actually
first
do?
radio show I've actually sat through the whole thing without rolling my eyes. So thanks, lads. Good job. Yes, we're the best.
Oh well, I don't get too excited. There might be some eye rolling in the future. Who knows?
That is true. Yes.
This is the tamest show I've ever been on. I usually just come in and cause problems for people.
Well, it's the first one. I think they're gonna get a lot worse the more comfortable we get. Also,
Yeah.
my KT review is coming out in like a few days, so that's gonna hold you over until the next show. It's very long. The KT review that I'm fucking TJ is gonna fucking roast me. They're gonna cook me because my KT review is like 5 times probably longer than any other one I've done, especially the. It's in. I've gone very far in that. I'm only like 50% done, and I've been working on it for hours every day for like 4 or 5 days now. So it's gonna be a long one. I'm gonna come out of it probably knowing more about Katie than Katie knows about Katie. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's about right.
Can I ask what made this one different? It's because it's a very unique position. Katie is, I will say, probably the most unique alliance in the game. in a lot of metrics. So like, there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to talk about in terms of war performance. There's a lot to talk about where their econ is. I will criticize their econ a lot, but from like an educated standpoint, where like I'm sad that it isn't better because it should be. By all metrics, KT should have one of the best econs in the game. I think the fact that you guys do 0-0 is really what fucks you. And I'll talk about that a lot, I think, in the review.
Yeah, this is all just an attempt to convert people to the one true way of leading an alliance.
Yeah. Well, yeah, sure.
Hence
It's
the name
coming.
of the show. Politics
Exactly.
and War for Dummies. We're educating you.
All right. All right, let's move on to open mic so that Villainy can tell me to suck it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go there first.
Bitches.
I hope C-Fire. I hope. Oh god. I just hope not everyone talks at the same time.
Don't you have firms though?